Mm. Oh my God. Yeah, absolutely.
It was
Uh, wanted to move to a next tweet showing, I think, something we all know about, but the spinelessness of the liberals. A lot of them that put on the mask of being socialist. They had this weird term in front of it, democratic socialist, as if socialism didn't imply a society that's actually democratic, as if every socialist experiment we've seen, even in the toughest time, wasn't infinitely more democratic than any other order we've seen uh, in the past. But here's Megan Day, a editor for Jacobin. I still get Jacobin's little magazine. There's some stuff here that's good, but uh, editor for Jacobin says organized democratic mass politics isn't easy, but it's got a great track record and doesn't involve mowing down elderly women with machine guns. Many on the Palestinian left, which is not a monolith dominated by Hamas, actually prefer it to terrorist attacks on civilians. So let's break this down. All right.
whoa. Who's this?
This is Megan Day. This is the editor at Jacobin.
What?
Yeah.
Yo, but I was just gonna say, as you brought up this theme, like the DSA has been in the streets. I've marched with a lot of
Yeah. Yeah.
comrades. So DSA has different
It's a
orientations.
large tent. It's a big tent organization. There's a lot of good people in there. Um, but democratic mass politics. Danny, the occupied Palestinians haven't attempted peacefully to overthrow their occupiers and the people that forced them to live under an apartheid state. I feel like the same part of the wall that Al Aqsa broke through, I think that might have been the place of destination that a walk in, I don't know, 2019 or so was heading to when people were killed by Israeli riflemen. And, some died, many of them were injured. So let me ask you a question. If you try your little democratic mass politics and it doesn't work, are you supposed to, I don't know, just fucking roll over and hope that one day you can sing Kumbaya if there's enough left of you with your oppressor, with your occupier? Is that how, is that what being a socialist implies? Let's keep it going. Great track record. Yeah, democratic mass politics definitely worked to free Algeria and South Africa and Cuba and China. I mean, what are we talking about? In some contexts, yes, it's worked. Democratic mass politics worked in the U.S. to bring us the political revolution in 1964 because it had a possibility to do that. But when it doesn't have a possibility, remember what Paulo Freire said. Never in the history of humanity has it been the oppressed that picked up the guns first. It's always the oppressor that forces the oppressed into a condition where violence is the only way to achieve freedom. So this is ridiculous. Involve mowing down elderly women with machine guns. Where's the proof? Where is your proof? And these are the so-called socialists that come from the American empiricist tradition of, show me the facts, from the very empirical tradition that comes from Anglo philosophy. Where is the proof for what you're saying? Israel has provided no proof. If it would have had even a slither of proof, it would have been blasting it on every news media, and it hasn't blasted it. All it's blasted is stories about 14,000 dead on October 7th that are all done at the hands of Hamas. And then they brought the number down to 1,200, and now we know that it was helicopters and tanks, Israeli tanks, and IDF soldiers, or IOF, Israeli Occupational Forces soldiers, that killed the vast majority of people, and that the vast majority of the people that Hamas did kill were IDF people. So they weren't just civilians, and that a good chunk of the civilians that were killed with Hamas were killed by the IDF. We've covered these stories. So where is your proof here? You're just reiterating the propaganda that dehumanizes the Palestinian people and the forces that they have chosen to represent their struggle for liberation through the means of weapons, which is Hamas. many on the Palestinian left. The Palestinian left is fighting alongside of Hamas. The Palestinian left is fighting alongside of Hamas, which is not a monolith. Actually prefer it to terrorist attacks on civilians. That's bullshit. That is bullshit. You're reiterating the imperialist atrocity propaganda used to dehumanize the Palestinian people and justify this ongoing genocide. And it's a fucking shame that someone like you gets to edit a fucking magazine that calls itself Socialist, that has millions of fucking people following it. Why is it that socialism that's allowed? Why is it that socialism that's allowed to take the algorithms by storm and get millions of viewers and millions of subscribers and millions of followers on Twitters and why is it that socialism that the empire accepts? It's because it always dances the tune of empire when it actually matters, but from the so-called left and with bullshit left terms like democratic mass politics, Palestinian left. Get the fuck out of here. You're stooges of empire from the fucking left. You're left delegitimizers of the anti-imperialist and heroic struggle of the Palestinian people. You are scum. You are fucking scum.
Yeah, Megan Day, I got something to say. I mean, when you read that, Carlos, I just felt like a certain class rage, the arrogance of the know-it-alls. You can tell what struggle has she been through to have such a liberal, disassociated perspective. It'd be good to debate, it'd be good to debate some of these people, because it's not her that I think we could ever win over, because clearly she has a whole lot of skin, as in white skin and liberal skin and white fragility skin and pro-imperialist propaganda skin in the game. But there's people around her, Malcolm X taught, never judge somebody on what they do or do not know. Don't forget, 5 years ago, you didn't know what you know. And I'm sure there's, like you said, I mean, 1.5 million people reading this. In my day, it was the ISO, the International Suburban Organization, these corny activists, on Ivy League campuses critiquing Cuba, critiquing the Bolivarian Revolution, because Carlos, they never had to scrounge up the last change in the couch to see if they could get on the MTA on the train. They never had to hustle. They never on the grind. Their class instincts, they don't feel any urgency.
And once again, to bring it back to the magic 8 ball, we've been predicting this from the start. This whole article is a refutation of Day and many others like her on the left that might write nice articles about Nat Turner and John Brown and the Algerian anti-colonial struggle. They might even condemn people like Albert Camus, who took the both sidesism approach to the question of Algerian freedom and anti-colonial struggles. But when it happens today, in front of their fucking eyes, they attempt to be neutral on a moving train, which, as Howard Zinn teaches us, is impossible. So this whole article is an attempt to expose the hypocrisy of this purity fetish left that wants a pure, peaceful, violence-less revolution, and God forbid the idea of liberation that they have in their head is not lived up to by people. Oh, they're going to be condemned real quick. Especially, the most difficult part of it is that if the premises that they were working through in order to condemn reality on the basis of it not meeting their pure ideals, this purity fetish phenomenon, if the premises they were working through were correct ones, okay, but half of the shit that's implied in her tweet is false. It's just pure imperialist propaganda. So these are people that are delusional. What does that have to say about Jacobin? What does that have to say about the tendencies that align themselves with Jacobin when the editor is the person that makes the editorial decisions, the person that decides the line of the paper. If we were to submit a defense of Stalin, a defense of Marxism-Leninism to Jacobin, it'd be editors like Megan Day who would say no. This goes against our line of so-called democratic socialism. So what does that say about this tendency when its leading people are being the archetypical example of this folly, of this ridiculousness of this moralist left that wants a revolution to look like a picnic, that wants anti-colonial struggles to look like a picnic. So if anyone's interested in reading this, I'm gonna put it in the chat. But Danny, your thoughts?
No, class instincts. When I was too young to understand all the nuanced debates between the real and the fake in history, between the Bolsheviks and the Mensheviks and the liberals, and back when I was, still young, 15, 16, 17, I just remembered these very, very white characters and white students, know-it-alls. They would go up to picket lines. This stuff is surreal, Carlos. The MTA had a huge MTA went on strike, Transport Workers Union, in 2006, December 1st, 2006. And these ISO, these DSA types. But again, we need unity right now. I'm not projecting any sectarianism against the entire DSA, but certainly whatever line this is, I mean, that's the enemy's line right there.
Our
And
stream was just deleted off of Facebook, by
yeah,
the way. I don't know what are the root causes of that, but
that's what I'm
uh,
telling you, man. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. How do you reach millions and millions, and then a week or two go by and you're reaching hundreds and hundreds? It's dispiriting.
yeah.